To all my Christian women out there that's waiting to get married, you're waiting for God to send your husband to you. I have a bit of advice for you. Do not get married unless you are prepared to go into battle for your husband. If you're not prepared to fight for him when things get rough. As a wife coach, one of the things that I see the most is that when there's a battle, when there's a struggle, when there's a little bit of turmoil in the marriage, wives are willing to fight to a certain extent. Right? I will tell you this. A lot of wives don't wait for God to pick their husbands. They typically pick them themselves and then take them to God and say, hey, I need you to fix him. But that's neither here or there. If you are not prepared to go into battle, to pick up the cross for him, because the two of you are one, for those of you that are like, well, he has his own cross to bear to a certain extent. You're going to be his wife. You need to help him pick that cross up. And so I know that a lot of us, we will say the wedding vows for better or for worse, for richer and for poorer, for sickness and health, right? And we want the better part, the richer part, the health part. But when it comes to the other things, a lot of times wives really aren't ready to fight that battle. So let me ask you this. If your husband, your future husband, say that your husband has a weed addiction, are you prepared to fight for him? Let's say that he has an alcohol addiction. Are you prepared to fight for him? A gambling addiction. Are you prepared to fight? A porn addiction. Are you prepared to fight for him if he has a porn addiction? Because a lot of women will throw their hands up in the air and say, I'm not sticking around for this. Are you prepared to fight for him when the battles come? What if he has a wandering eye? What if he has depression? What if he's just mean all of a sudden? He's just going through something. Are you prepared to roll up your sleeves and go into battle for this man? I'm going to tell you that what I see, I've seen a few women that's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm fighting for him because I see that he's going through something. You know, that Proverbs 31 wife where you can actually see what's going on in your household. That doesn't just mean what the pantry needs or what the kids needs. It also means what your husband is going through as well. And that Proverbs 31 wife is able to assess what's going on in her household and act accordingly. Are you able to do that if your husband is going through a struggle? Because if you're not, don't sign up. Don't say yes. Don't say your vows. Don't do it. And let me just let you know something. There will be struggles. There will be times that you are going to go through things and God is going to refine you through the process if you let him. But a lot of times people tap out. A lot of times women, wives, tap out, right? Because we get in our feelings. We don't really know the word. We don't take everything to the Lord. But what I do know is this. You better develop a relationship with the Lord so he can speak to you and give you specific instructions for your husband and give you a specific heart for him as well. Because God can, this is nothing for him. There's nothing impossible for him. He can turn all of that around. But you need to have a specific relationship with the Lord so you can hear his voice. It's not just about ask. Oh, God, fix him. He's not a magic genie. You don't just get to rub the lamp 3 times and then poof, your answer is there. No, there's things that God is going to have you do. There's things that you need to do for your husband. You need to go into battle for him. Do you know how to put on the full armor? There's things that you need to do, wife. So don't sign up for it if you're not ready to do it. Right? People say marriage is hard. I don't think that marriage is hard per se. I think that things come our way. And if we don't know what to do, then absolutely it's going to be hard. But if we're like, you know what, I'm taking this to my daddy. What will you have me do, Abba Father? What will you have me do for my husband, right? And a lot of times wives want to go to battle for the children. Oh, we'll go through fire for our children. But when it comes to our husbands who are going through something or we're not ready to do that, don't sign up. Don't get married if you're not ready to do that. I'm telling you right now, because the enemy is there. He's after you, your husband, your covenant, your marriage, your children. He's just there like, like strings, pulling the strings. And if you don't know how to fight, you're not going to know what to do. Because what's happening is wives are being put through the fire because their husbands aren't submitted to the Lord. And they're like, oh, they're throwing their hands up. They don't know what to do. God, I can't take this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not going to pray for him. I'm not going to cover him. I'm not going to go into battle for him. No matter how long it takes, I'm not going to do it. But you don't know what God is asking you to do. A lot of times wives have already made up their mind that they can't do it. It's not for the weak, but we draw strength from the Lord. So you shouldn't be weak in the first place. But that's the problem. Many Christian wives do not have a relationship with the Lord, do not know what the instructions of the Lord are, do not know his voice. They have no idea. So they're weak when it comes to any sort of battle in their marriages. And they're just like, oh, I'm just going to roll over and play dead. Or I'm just going to give up my marriage to the enemy. Girl, this is my advice to you. If you are not ready to fight for that man, if you are not ready to go into battle for that man like you would your children, don't do that to him. Don't do that to him, because our men are going through things. They have a lot of things on their plate. They have the weight of the world on their shoulder. They're trying to navigate how to be good husbands and how to be good fathers and how to be good, just overall good men in society. And the enemy has been there poking at them ever since they were children or before they were even born. Right? If they don't know who they are in Christ, they might not be walking with the Lord. They might not be submitted to the Lord. And here they are trying to figure it out. And they're getting tripped up along the way. And that's where we come in. We're supposed to be like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. If our kid was getting bullied, we'd be up at that school. But if our husbands are getting bullied, you want to just be like, oh well, that's just too hard. Come on, man. You can't do that. All right. So let me just let you know right now. If you're not prepared to fight, I already said it, I'm going to say it again. If you're not prepared to fight for your husband, if you're not prepared to go to battle for your husband, for your marriage, if you're not prepared to kick the enemy in his teeth, if you're not prepared, if you're just going to roll over, don't marry him. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay? Because, and that's just with any man that comes along. Unless you marry a man that's completely submitted to the Lord, well, unless you're completely submitted to the Lord, he's not going to marry you, right? So if you are a Christian, but maybe not 100% submitted to the Lord, then you're probably going to pick a husband that isn't 100% submitted to the Lord either. Because same thing, if you are 100% submitted to the Lord, you're not going to pick a lukewarm Christian as a husband. You're going to pick a man that's submitted to God. So the two of you, that's a whole nother thing, because the two of you could battle together. But for the rest of us, or the rest of wives, who might not have been walking with the Lord, your husband might not have been walking with the Lord, you're Christian, but you're kind of lukewarm and you marry each other. But now you're like, okay, and all these things the enemy is throwing at you, and you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Go to the Lord. Go to the Lord. It is imperative in this day and age that you have a relationship with Christ, so that way he can lead you to battle, not just for your husband, not just for your kids, your grandkids. You need to be that praying grandmama that they talk about. That they're like, oh, my grandma was a praying grandma. Boy, she was the one. If I had any issues, I went to her. You should be the matriarch of the family. And you also should take the reins for a while until your husband can get to the place where he needs to be to lead the family. You should be the Jesus that he sees in the household. So if you're not prepared to do all that, don't say yes to the dress or whatever that is. Don't say yes. Just wait. Just wait. Because, yeah, there will be battles. And if you don't know how to fight, you're going to get crushed. Just saying. Wife up. Or pre-wife up, right?